Hello, everyone. And you know what I get to say today? I get to say that we are recording for the Ladies Tale podcast. I was about to be the Ladies Frickin' Tale podcast, but then y'all would be looking for the Ladies Frickin' Tale podcast, and that's no such thing. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, let me back this up. I'm Winona. There we go. Now let's start the party train. I don't even know why I just said let's start the party train, because there ain't no train that's going to party. It's just me. There's no Jade today, so we can't party. We can do this, though. The rockabye dance. Oh, yes. This is how you know there's no Jade today, because I got away with that. Yes, I am loving this. Oh, calming down because we have someone professional today. We have a casting director. I'm so excited. All right, moving on. We also have a co-host. Co-host, would you like to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I am Tanya Todd. I'm an author, actress, and screenwriter from Las Vegas.
I did that out of order, but who cares? Now let me talk about me, because we all know that that's what we're here for. And hold on. If you've been following these weeks where Jade has been studying, you know what's about to happen. Because if you haven't, welcome to it. Narcissus hair flip, because it's just silky beautiful like me today. Okay. Narcissus time over. We wrote books, and when I say we, I do not mean there are two people in me, although they would be gorgeous in narcissism, but hey, I can't have both. I meant that the Missing Jade and I write books. They are, and they're literary life guides with life lessons. Jade reminded me at 10 a.m. this morning to say that, so I said it. And I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being grown up was easy. If only I were me, a memoir in verse, Whittles Web, Whittles Debt, and Foreign Coffee. You can get all those books wherever you get audiobooks. And hey, this is the sign language moment. We have 17 books, which means that we are missing 11 books. You can find all of those at www.andithoughladies.com. And one more time, because I love to say it like I'm a car salesman, www.andithoughladies.com. That was a little like a goal. I feel like I just was like, and he scored. But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear about our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Katie Taylor. I am a commercial, print, and independent film casting director based out of Los Angeles, California. We cast nationwide, and we've been in business since the 90s.
You've been in business since the 90s? Oh, like, I can't say that like I didn't do my research. I'm sorry. You've been in business since the 90s. Tell us about that.
Well, it was definitely a different business back then than it is now. That was before the internet. So our processes were definitely extremely different. I started out as a casting assistant purely by accident. I had gone to school to become a preschool teacher. And because you don't get very much adult interaction as a preschool teacher, I kind of picked up some of the hobbies I had as a kid. And I was a gymnast up until I was about 12. And if you don't make it to the Olympics by 12, you're pretty much, your career is over. So when I was, 18, 19 years old, I started taking gymnastics classes again while I was teaching. And I met all these stunt people. There were all these people in the stunt business in these adult gymnastics classes. And they were all working on, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Batman and Spider-Man. And it was a lot more exciting than teaching a bunch of 3-year-olds. And so I kind of started tagging along with them to auditions, to like, oh, they're looking for someone to do back handsprings on this TV show, or they're looking for someone to do a trip and fall scene. And I eventually completely quit teaching preschool and went full force into the stunt industry, doing circus arts and precision driving and all sorts of crazy stuff. And as you might imagine, when you do that, I got injured a lot because that's my job, right? To get hurt for the actor. And during a point in time where I had rolled one ankle and sprained the other, I was like hobbled like Kathy Bates from that movie. I ran into a casting assistant who was like, oh my gosh, no wonder we haven't seen you lately. Like, how are you surviving? And I was like, I'm not really, and he was like, well, why don't you come like answer the phone in the office and help us do real people research? And real people is when for advertising, they're looking for like real nurses, real firemen, real mothers with their real babies, you know, whatever it was stuff that you couldn't really find in actors very easily. And so I took my crippled, hobbled butt over to that office and I never left. I started doing all their research. And eventually, after maybe about 2 or 3 years, I left and I started up my own company when I felt pretty secure in all the tasks. And that was, I think I started my company back in 2000. It was back in 2000 when I first started this company. And then it's just kind of grown ever since. And we definitely more specialize in advertising. But there's been a few occasions where some of my directors have said, hey, I wanna shoot a movie. Will you cast it for me? But the majority has been, you know, commercials and commercial print.
So I have two questions. I think you might have answered one. I'm leming it on the bow, why I'm so absent-minded. Number one is, what was different about the 90s? You said there was no internet, but like, how did you submit if there was no internet? And then number two, and you noticed you said real people. So I just wanted to know if you're looking for real cute people.
Totally. We're always looking for real cute people.
Ooh, I have a future.
Yes, you totally do. You would do well. So back then, you know, now we put everything on either breakdown services or Actors Access, as well as casting networks. That goes all online. It emails the breakdown to every agent, every actor in town that has an account, and they submit virtually. We ask for self-tapes virtually. Everything gets uploaded to the net. We send a link to our client. That's how it happens now. Back then, we typed up a breakdown on a typewriter and we faxed it to Breakdown Services, who then typed it up again and faxed it to all the agents in town, who would then manually put together packages of hard copy headshots. And some of the smaller agents would like stuff candy in the envelopes too, to try to get us to open them. You know, that was like their bribery back then. And then literally they would all get messengered or like urgently shipped to our offices, and there would be a giant dumpster, literally an industrial sized dumpster that would collect them all. And then somebody at the studio, because we would share a studio with like 5 or 6 other casting directors. So this massive dumpster, then we sent all the assistants down to sort it. And each one got a shopping cart, a full overflowing shopping cart that then we had to push up in the elevator. And then the casting assistants would have those like cubicles from IKEA, and they would put a Post-it note, mom, dad, son, grandma, mailman, and they would open the packages and put them all in the cubicles. And then we would take the stack and give it to the casting director. Here, go through this one. This one's all the moms. And they would literally have to do it manually by hand. And then they would pass us, you know, the stack went from 3 feet high to like 2 inches. And they'd hand us that stack and we would have to write it up. And then we would have to phone call it out. Hi, I'm calling with times for tomorrow for Taco Bell. I have Joe Smith at 7 p.m. I have, you know what I mean? And then they would have to call us back to confirm. And it was all, and then they would come to the studio, we'd put them on tape and we would cord it to a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch tape that then we had to dub and copy and then ship to the clients along with people's size cards that had a Polaroid photo of them stapled to it. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
That sounds horrific.
Awful.
Exhausting.
I'd like the job of envelope stuffer at the agency because I'm eating the candy. You guys can have the rest.
It was
Did
rough.
you get through it all, or did you just reach a certain point where you're like, all right, we have enough of this particular role, we can't possibly look
You
at
know
another
what we
one?
would do? Yes. If it was a role where it was like a huge SAG National commercial, double scale, pays a lot, and we were looking for like literally 18 to 28-year-olds, all ethnicities.
Mhm.
I mean, like that's insane. We would get
Right, that's everybody.
So what we would do in those type of scenarios, which was awful, is we would filter the packages, the like A-list agents, because they put in a return label on it. You'd know who it was from.
Mhm.
And all the like no-name agents that we didn't even know or you know, have heard of. We didn't even open those. Those just went in a whole separate pile. And only would we open them after we'd exhausted that and we couldn't find what we need. We're like, well, let's check out the reject pile. You know, let's see if we can find it in there.
It's like the slush pile for literary stuff. Like, are you trying to theory?
Exactly. Yeah, it was brutal. The assistant's fingers were like bloodied by the end of the day, ripping open those manila envelopes with the little metal tab.
Wow.
It was awful.
So I guess you really embraced the digital era, right?
It was like a dream. Like a dream. You have no idea. I mean, even when we used to do real people research, we had no internet. We used to literally use the phone book.
That's like, what do you do? What do you just
Well, you
call
know, like
people
we're looking
and
for
ask?
BMXers or whatever. We'd go to the, you know, bike shops and call every bike shop, call every ramp store, call every tire, whatever, you know. And it was just all, and we would fax them the flyer, you know.
This
Call
sounds like
the
some kind of
number.
crazy dystopian, like historical fiction story.
I just feel so bad. Like, oh, you tell me that all those commercials I watched, that's what happened. I guess it was worse for movies and TV. Oh my
Oh.
god.
It was the same process, you know. We were all on Polaroids and headshots and tapes.
What if
And then
someone sent you a Polaroid now? Because now, like, you keep saying Polaroids, I'm like, I gotta send her one just as a joke. With a sides card. Here you go.
Right? Old school.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tanya, I'm handing this over to you because I write books. So I'm assuming that you have the questions. I mean, currently, because our talent manager made us do this, she made us get a profile on Actors Access, but no one believes that we're an actor. So Tanya, as the reigning actor in this interview, would you like to ask a few questions?
I have questions, and I'm sure you know some of these. But I'm curious, before the pandemic, did you prefer self-tapes or in-person auditions?
Oh no, I didn't even do self-tapes before the pandemic, to be honest. The only time I'd ever done them was when we were casting remotely in other states, you know what I mean? Where we were looking for, you know, real runners for Nike in Philadelphia or whatever it was.
Okay.
Like then, because we, you know, it was cheaper to not fly there, to just have people send us stuff. But we had to do everything manually. The pandemic actually kickstarted technology in those sites to allow people to self-upload their tapes themselves. Before the pandemic, they had to send it to us and then we had to manually put it on there.
Oh, what a pain.
Whereas now they literally just, you know how it works. You can load it,
Right.
yourself, done. So that's taken a lot of the workflow in a whole other direction. But I much prefer in person in terms of getting quality performances, just because you get in-person feedback, you can do
Right,
adjustments,
you can redirect.
things, and that really brings like the best possible performance out of an artist. But the pro for a casting director in the self-tape process, that I can see more people.
Yeah.
You know, I can put out a request for 300 actors to put on a self-tape, whereas when we're in studios, we're limited to 80. We have 80 slots. And sometimes we have 3 roles, so we have to divide those among those 80. And it's not always, you know, easy, especially when some people don't show up. You know what I mean?
That would be very frustrating. You have a limited number of spots already.
And those studios are expensive. To rent a casting facility is not cheap. So
I imagine.
you save that cost, you know, doing a self-tape as well.
I was just
What's your process now? Do you do the first round through self-tape and then do callbacks in person?
It depends. The only time I've done callbacks in person is when it's very performance or chemistry driven. 95% of the time, callbacks are Zoom, like this. Yep. And
What were you saying, Winona?
I was always wondering how you guys got into the studio. So now I know. And then of course my next question was like, are there snacks for the people who have to wait and for the people who have to come in and perform? I mean, there has to be cold water, juice, and or I don't know, chips.
Yeah, you know, in a lot of lobbies there are vending machines.
No, I meant free snacks.
Yeah, I wish.
Okay, yeah, no.
There's usually water.
Yeah, there's always a water fountain. But like 200 South La Brea has a bunch of vending machines and stuff like that.
Oh, because I was about to say, if there are free snacks, I will go on auditions and have no idea how to audition anything. But yeah, nope, no free snacks. I'm out of this conversation again.
You know, you want to go because you want to get a SAG National where you make $80,000 for one day of work. That will buy you all the snacks you want.
Yeah.
That's the carrot. That's the carrot.
That buys you lots of time to write.
Ooh, it surely does. Excuse me, ma'am. How do I get involved in this now?
No exaggeration. I'll never forget. I booked a bunch of kids in the very first, how will I say this? Because I'm not allowed to say the brand. In the first tablet commercial, the very first tablet to come
Nicely
out,
done.
they each made, I kid you not, $350,000 a piece.
Wow.
And it's because they hold a lot of conflicts. You know what I mean? They were holding tablets, computers, telephone services, and it was worldwide. It went all over the world. There were billboards, so there was an additional print campaign. It was by far the biggest payout I've ever handed out in my life, and it was all kids.
Good for those kids.
Well, those kids now have their college paid for. That was it. They were all, 6, 7, 8 years old. Done. One day of work.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You were talking about these checks, and I was like, this is a great way to pay for med school.
It is.
It is.
I might be trying this.
People do it. People go into it just to raise a chunk of money for education, and then they bail out. And that's it. They make their money and they use it for what they're, it's like you play Robin Hood.
I'm sorry, this is not what this conversation is supposed to be. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get off of here so that and Tanya can go back and we can do the professionalism and get the real.
Hey, I'm here for Robin Hood, like every time.
Right? Definitely down for that. All right, I'm muting myself. Tanya, the professional one.
So I also read that you used to do all the submissions on your own. Is that still the case? Do you still handle them on your own, or are there too many?
No, I don't have any staff go through my submissions for me. That is the art of casting right there.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's the hardest part, because you're often under the gun time-wise.
Yeah.
You have to say they have created a digital filter system for us. You remember how I said we used to segregate our packages between good agents and not so great agents? We can now pre-program on the casting sites our own filter system, saying like, show me only the submissions from my top 10 best comedy agents or whatever. We can make our own filters. I have one for kids, I have one for the best modeling agents. And that way it goes from 3,500 submissions down to 900. You know what I mean? You just like cut it,
makes it really efficient.
Yeah. And it's because that's hard, after a while, like like all those blonde dudes look the same.
Right.
I mean,
so what are the things that help you narrow your list? What are some things that make an actor stand out to you?
Well, the number one thing, and this is something that I think makes.
And I want to make it clear. I'm asking on a headshot level, and I'm asking on an audition level.
Well, the thing that by far makes the biggest difference is turning in good product. If I pick you once and you turn in an excellent self-tape on time, your lighting is amazing, your footage is beautiful, your acting is super high level, I will call you in every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have very much to do for me on like, ooh, he's got a great headshot. You know what I mean? Like the headshot is just to remind me of who you are. It's just your business card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So most of the time when I'm going through it, I'm like, oh yes, Jeff, he'd be great. Oh yeah, Sarah, she'd be amazing for this. You know what I mean? I'm not going, does Sarah look like she could be a doctor? I'm like, no, Sarah kicks ass at this. Like she delivers. She's coming
so what
in.
you're saying is we're reiterating it's important to book the room, not necessarily the specific job.
Totally. That is absolutely 100% the case. You rock it. You will have a place in my heart forever. Like I will forever bring you in.
So what are some of your pet peeves?
not following directions, being late, asking stupid questions. You know, like I've answered the questions in the instructions and they write to me to ask me a question that's already been answered. So obviously they're not paying attention.
Not reading it.
I hate it, honestly, when actors randomly write to me either on social media or email asking for a job. You know what I mean? Like, hey, do you have any roles for me? Like, honey, this is not how that works.
Yes, and I just hadn't mentioned it on any breakdowns yet. I was waiting for
I have a role for you. Here, can you work tomorrow? So that drives me nuts. And also I have people that spam me constantly on social media, tag me in their every post.
Does it have anything to do
Like,
with you?
No, it happens all day, every day. I get at least 10 a day of people tagging me in, you know, their kid playing soccer, or, you know, the actor who's on set for a job I didn't even cast. You know what I mean? They just want me to see that they're booking, or they want me to see that their kid is really good at soccer. But like, that just backfires.
Yeah, you're getting noticed in the wrong way.
Well, it's
You
harassment.
have to look at 900 submissions when you go to social media. What you're not looking for is submissions. That is your drink wine and chill time. Get out of here. What is
You know what I want to do? Keep doing this when I'm not even casting right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to jump in, but I was.
No, that was exactly right though.
Spot on. Yeah,
Oh,
social media is a time, again, to just cruise. Like, I'll see your kid playing soccer on your feed. Like, I'll see that you're in a movie, you know, when I have the time to see it, you know? But if you're gonna like come stalk me with it, like every day, it's just.
So speaking of that, have you ever seen something like another commercial or a movie and been like, who is that person? I want to make sure I add them to a list.
Or
No,
Tanya, did you want to ask if she's ever seen someone while being interviewed? Is that what that? No, I'm joking.
No.
That is seriously not her question. That's seriously not her question.
no, actually, there's a perfect example. This is a positive way to get noticed. Is there is this incredible actress that makes all sorts of hilarious reels on Instagram making fun of like caricatures in the industry. You know what I mean? Like, she did one like,
I think I've seen those
like
videos.
it was like a stage mom that happens upon a shoot on her street, and she's like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys are shooting here,
Right.
you know, Bill Billy, so good, you know what I mean? Or like, you know, she did one recently that had me in stitches, that was, you know, this is what it's like to go to her local coffee shop the day after her co-star airs, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be noticed, and she's like waiting for someone to realize,
Right.
like, and then she picks up the fake phone. Yes, that was me on CSI last night, girl number 5. Yep, that was me. Oh, my manager is so thrilled. And that got my attention immediately, to the point where I now notice her in TV shows. Like, I saw her on like Stranger Things. I saw her in Euphoria. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are times where oh my God, that's that girl. And so when she gets submitted, again, I know she'll deliver. I've seen her work. I'm excited by her work. You know what I mean? So those scenarios, absolutely. She doesn't stalk me. She doesn't shove them in my face. She just puts them on her feed, and I notice them every time, you know? Because it's
I feel like we're running out of time, so I have 2 more questions for you. One is your preferences for the slate in terms of what information you receive in the slate, and do you prefer it at the beginning or the end?
So that's particular to each job. Each
Okay.
director or photographer, or whoever it is I'm working with, they all have their preference. The one thing that I will say that is super helpful and great on our end is if you make your slate a separate clip. Because if you make it its own clip, we can move it. We can isolate it. We can download just that. We can move it to the front or the back. We can do whatever. It makes it really easy. If you've edited everything together, we can't move anything.
Okay.
So it's really great to have like your slate separate, your first take separate, your second take separate, That way we can even delete or move one or whatever. And that's super helpful for us, for sure.
And then my other question is, has anyone ever surprised you in the casting room?
Every time. Every time.
So tell us a memorable experience you've had.
God.
That was a question that I sent over though. I'm just a heads up.
Yeah,
I was just looking at that question to
You
ask.
should have sent me your questions so I didn't duplicate them.
You know, it's funny because the things that immediately stand out in my head are all negative.
That's all right. We're here for the entertainment.
There's so many amazing actors out there that just knock it out of the park every time. You know what I mean? That like, I couldn't pick one of them. There's so many that are incredible that have just, they've figured it out. You know what I mean? They've studied the craft. They've seen what works. They have their own little spins and twists on things that just set them apart. And then there are ones where I'm completely blown away at the audacity. You know? Like the one that stands out the most in my head that I just will never forget was we were casting salsa dancers, and we have some very, very incredibly advanced level dancers in LA that have dance agents, you know, that they supply every music video, every pop star tour. Like these people are just, they're all on Dancing with the Stars, and So You Think You Could Dance. Like anyone that's been through those shows, they all end up at these agencies. So they're incredible. So we were casting for the day. We were matching people up in the lobby to be partners, and they were all coming in. They were all incredible. And then randomly, we had this couple come in and start, and it was painfully obvious that this dude didn't know how to dance at all. Like he wasn't even faking it well. Like he was like doing what you would think salsa was that you saw on TV. You know what I mean? Except if you were like
a Saturday Night Live.
This is right? And the girl he was paired with was like a high level professional that literally was like, didn't know what to do. She was kind of like,
the horror.
And I literally ran in the room because we have a live feed when we used to be in studios. We had a live feed to a monitor so that we could continue to work and kind of keep an eye on things at the same time and buzz into the session director and be like, hey, can you have them do it again or whatever? And I saw this and I didn't even buzz in. I like ran in the room and I was like, what was that? You know? And I said to the girl, I said, did you practice with him in the lobby? And she goes, no, he said he didn't want to practice, that he was good. And I was like, you can't dance, buddy. Like what? And he's like, oh, you know, I spent a summer in Brazil and my friend owns a salsa studio and I took classes with him like every day for an entire 3 months. And I was like,
I'd like to jump in here. If anyone thinks this and they want to go to a casting department, please, I want you to understand. It is hard work to finish 1 year of dancing. Don't think 6 months get you anywhere close. You don't even belong
You
in
learn
the
the vocabulary in 6 months. You don't learn all the moves, you know?
No, I mean, you can't even stretch good. You can't even get on the ballet bar and stretch good in 6 months. Nope, don't even.
I was floored. I honestly was floored. And I immediately, you know, kicked him out. I repaired her and put her 2 people back in line so she had some time to practice. And we kept going. And I called that guy's agent and I was like, bro, you know, like I sent him the clip. I literally was like, you emailed me that audition. I want this agent to see it. She dropped it. And the girl that I repaired booked the job.
Nice.
Okay, so like I don't understand. Actors are always like casting directors are mean, but you were so nice to like and put her back in line and give her another try and then make sure she had time to practice. That is so sweet.
Well, I mean, that, you know, it's unfair of her to have been impacted by his mistakes and unprofessionalism. You know what I mean? And we want you to do well. We want everyone to look awesome. You know what I mean? That only makes us look good. It makes us like, wow, you picked out some great people for this, you know? So we want you to do well. But, you know, I understand that reputation because I will say there are some very cutthroat casting directors that just don't have the time. They can't be nice because that takes time for them to like conjure and calm and they're just, you know what I mean? They're like moving fast and they're snippy and they're, you know,
especially in the commercial world.
just trying to get it done, you know? And I've definitely been guilty of that. You know, I definitely was not kind to him, I'll tell you that. But yeah, so, you know, it
No,
is.
I do have one more question. What is your dream
No,
project?
you can't have one more question. I'm sorry, because I want it.
You have 2 more questions. My dream?
Your dream project to cast.
Yeah, like my dream project to cast. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. That's rough. No, it's not. Here we go. Any project that would fly me to Tahiti or Bora Bora or the Maldives to cast. Don't care where it is. I don't care if it's for Viagra, for condoms, tampons, whatever. I will be there. That would be my dream, honestly. Absolutely 100% would
I feel
be.
like we're in kindred spirits here because I would definitely do it for that too. That and food, either or. I'll take either. But
Or
yeah,
both.
you got good goals.
And when you always get the last question, it's your show.
Right, I do. So my question, it's a 2-part question because, well, I want to ask this one real bad, so I'm going to. And then the other one is, I lied. It's a 3-part question.
Math is hard.
It's okay.
So
I'm
hard.
okay.
No, because I remembered I have to ask this question because otherwise it doesn't work for TikTok. So, what 3 pieces of advice are absolutely essential for any actor to book the job? Can you tell that's the TikTok question?
Follow the instructions. That's the number 1. Number 2, follow the instructions. And number 3, follow the instructions.
Thank you. Okay, now the questions I want to ask. How much collaboration does the casting director have with other people in a film? And then, of course, last, if you want to do this, where people can find out more information about you and your company. Like, I mean, if you just want to do you, it could be social media handles. Do not tag her.
Thank you.
If it's your company, you can do the website as well.
Okay, what was the first one?
How much collaboration do you have with other people involved in like the movie, this show, the commercial?
So for advertising, there's no collaboration at all. It's literally like, here's my view of the role, pick who you want. And they pick and we book. With film, it's funny because it's kind of like a voting process. You know what I mean? There's like the director, the casting director, and then there's the people paying for it. And those are the 3 cooks in the kitchen. Ultimately, it's the people paying for it that have the final say. But most of the time, we all agree. Most of the time, we're like, this is really strong. Or it's kind of like, do you want strawberry or coffee chip? Like, both are delicious and wonderful, but like, they both do different things with what they're paired with. You know what I mean? Like, apple pie may not be good with coffee chip. You know what I mean? Like, so it has to do with, you know, finding the right combination. So yeah, I mean, it's a voting process.
Okay.
Casting directors have a little more say in film and TV than they do in advertising. Advertising, your opinion doesn't mean anything.
You have a job to do, just do it. That's nice to know.
We're the choice providers. That's it. We just provide the choice. We hold the menu up. You get to order.
Oh my goodness. I have learned so much about the advertising world right now. Like, I really want to join and I have no idea why. None. You made it sound so appealing.
Good. Cash in, girl. Be that Robin Hood.
Oh, it won't happen. You see from here up. That's why I look great.
There's a place.
You're adorable all over.
Are you kidding me? There's a place for everyone. I cast everything from short, fat, little old men to newborn babies to teens with braces and acne. Like, there is a size, like a place for everyone. Every size, shape, color, age. Like, we're super inclusive in advertising. It's awesome. I love it.
Okay, where can people find out more information about you if you want to put that out there?
So they can follow me on Instagram. That's the most popular place to find out about some of my open calls and things like that. There's occasions where we're looking for unusual roles that are hard to find, and we will put them out on our Instagram, on our stories. It also shows some of the work that we've done so you can see the type of projects we work on. But honestly, the most effective way to connect is by signing up for alerts on casting networks. You will get every single job we cast sent right to your box where you can submit directly to me. I am one of the only casting directors in all of Los Angeles that has every single job open to the public and open for self-submissions for every role on every job. I pride myself on that. I love booking people that have never worked before on their very first project.
I want to say something, but I'm in so much shock. I just note this day. Winona is semi-wordless. Semi. I think it's the day, like, if I got booked, that would be the day I was wordless. Anyway, Tanya, can you tell people where to find you?
You can find me across social media at Ms. Tanya Todd. My website, www.mstanyatodd.com, and you can find me on IMDb just under Tanya Todd.
Oh, yay.
You can find out everything that your ladies are doing at www.andithoughladies.com. Recognize no car salesman right there. This is a professional time. And when you go down to the middle of the page, you can see the 3 charities that we proudly support. We hope that you will take your time out and give them a little help too, because this is a difficult time for everyone. And we thank you in advance for that. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade. Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening.